So I'm in my local consignment shop and digging around the junk tool bin, as I do, and came across this old bird. Skil wrench, battery powered ratchet wrench, which these kind of predate me, not as far as birth year goes, but as far as turning wrenches. So figured I'd pick it up and maybe get it going again. I was going to make it just a quick video on it working, but I mean, I find it interesting what's inside this thing. I figure other people might as well. What do we got here? Spec wise, well, it's a 238, 120 RPMs, which is roughly twice the speed of the second hand on your watch. That would be 3.6 volts. So I'm guessing it's got some kind of nickel battery in there, like a nickel cadmium or a nickel metal hydride type battery in it. These things, usually what the death nail of these was, the batteries would take a shit on them, and the thing just, it wouldn't hold a charge long enough for it to be worth a damn. And that's when you hung them up to dry. The way these charged, which I didn't get the charger with this one, was there was a little plastic socket, and you would mount it on the wall or onto the side of your bench, and then this would plug down inside of it. Then there'd be little contacts on either side here that would charge it up. And of course, this is the power button, forward and reverse. And actually, I noticed if you put it in the middle here, it actually got some kind of lockout on the trigger, which is pretty cool. I tried doing a little research on when these were actually made, not a lot of research, but a little bit. And yeah, I really couldn't find too much information on these. I'm guessing late 80s, early 90s. Like I said, I started turning wrenches in like 95 for a living. So yeah, not 100% sure. I'm not really too worried about it, to be honest with you. But yeah, so in comparison, this would be a modern day version, the Milwaukee brushed ratchet. And I mean, it's about the same length. The head's a lot smaller, which is nice because it gets you into smaller places, but it's a lot narrower too, which is kind of cool. But feeling these together, the weight's kind of similar. Hold on, let me get a scale. All right, so we got a scale. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but you'll have to trust me. All right, in pounds, the Milwaukee 1.87, so we'll call that 1.9, and the old school Skil 1.91. Yeah, I mean, they're almost exactly the same weight. Let's do it in grams for the. Oh, I just teared it, dumbass. Grams. There we go. 866 grams on the Skil, and 852 grams on the Milwaukee. So yeah, I mean the weights are about the same. You wouldn't think so by looking at them, because this is, it's obviously got a metal case in it, but I think the Milwaukee probably has a bigger motor. It's obviously got a bigger battery. So I think the batteries are in here, but yeah, so all right, let me get some tools, and we'll start pulling it apart and maybe get it working again. I think that'd be kind of cool, just to see how something like this would have worked back in the day. So yeah, I'll be right back. All right, so it looks like it's held together with T15 Torx. I think a spider made a nest there at one point in time. I think that's it. Is it? Yeah, that's it. All right, I think these two hold this switch mechanism in, and I'm pretty sure from the looks of it, we're going to want to open it this way. Or not. We got a flathead screwdriver handy. Let me see. See if we can get that in there. let me play with this and I'll skip right back. Yeah, I was wrong. These had to come out. Yeah, so we take that off. Look at that. Not much grease left in there, huh? Oop, God, I don't want springy things to be shooting all over the place. Ruin my life. I might have already did that. Stick that on there so we're not putting any pressure on it. And this is the battery, which is completely hooped. And there's the switch lockout. Let's take that off. Take that out. I don't know if they're worn. I don't know if they're worn out or if they're just worn in. But I'll figure that out later. Take that. All right, well, I mean, we got it all apart. I really can't see. I mean, it's definitely a 3-cell. Like I said, it's probably, well, it just kind of got nasty, didn't it? Probably a nickel metal hydride, I would think. I mean, the voltage is right for that style battery. I think they're like 1.25 volts each. And there's some crustiness going on in there. All right, let me take a closer look at this and get this crap out of here, and we'll be right back. All right, so we got all this cleaned up, well, for the most part. As suspected, you know, the batteries are shot, and this thing wasn't really too much hoping for that. A lot of corrosion in there. I could clean that out. My idea is to put a 18650 lithium ion in there. And as you can see, I mean, it's smaller, but it'll fit. And I mean, these are good. These are LGs. I think these are 1300 milliamp hours, and full charge voltage on these guys is 4.2 volts. This thing, these batteries, all 3 cells full charge, I think is 3.7 something. So I mean, the way I look at it is, what's it, you know, a couple of volts or 1.5 volts between friends. So let's give this a try. But while I was poking around with it, this is the motor here, and you can see it actually just kind of inserts in there, and it's almost like a friction fit, which is kind of cool. I think it's to make it more serviceable. You wouldn't see that in a tool today. But let's have my benchtop power supply set for 3.6 volts, which is what it's supposed to be running at. And let's hook it up and see what happens. It actually works. All right, well, I mean, that gives me hope that I could actually make it work again. I have to clean those terminals up, of course, but it really doesn't look like, as I'm poking around with it, this thing was actually even used that much. I mean, all the gears are really sharp. I'm kind of surprised at the lack of lubricant in it, to be honest with you, but I mean, like I said, there's not very much wear on this thing. This is kind of cool. So this piece right here is your actual ratcheting mechanism. So it just kind of, I don't know if I'll be able to do it without it in there, but oh, there we go. So that's like how it works. Then you shift it over, and it works in the other direction, of course. But I mean, that's beefy as hell. I mean, that's better than the cheap Pauls you get in like these style ratchets. And here you get another gear. You just have a little thrust bearing down there, which is kind of cool. But again, surprising lack of lubricant in any of this. I mean, there's a little bit of grease on the fingers, but not too bad. And inside the motor here, because I mean, you heard how fast that thing was spinning. You actually got a double gear reduction with some planetaries in here. So kind of wondering how much torque it has, if it's got more torque than the modern day ones. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can clean this up and make this somewhat functional in here. So let me take this apart, clean it up, and then solder wires, and I don't know, we'll see. Let me pull it apart. So while the battery's over there charging on the thing, I decided to do a little bit of continuity testing on this switch, and the switch is bad. And upon further research, this isn't a sealed switch. You can look down in there, and there's a bunch of corrosion in there, and I think from this old battery, that corrosion kind of leaked up in there and got everything all gunked up. So I got a little contact cleaner. I don't want to pull this switch apart if I don't have to, so I'm just going to load it up and see if I can kind of work it around and maybe break some of it loose with this, enough where it'll work. Again, I'm not trying to make this a daily running tool. I just want to play with it a little bit. So I'm going to try that with the contact cleaner. I'm going to take it outside so the wife doesn't complain at me for making the house stink. And yeah, let's see what we got. Well, that wasn't successful, so I had to pull it apart. I didn't want to do it on camera so you see a grown man cry. All the tabs that hold it together broke, but I think I could just CA glue this thing back together. But as you can see, it is pretty crusty in there. So a little bit of emery cloth and see if I can clean those up enough to make them work again. That too. Well, all right. Here's the deal. This switch is fucked. I pulled it apart, tried cleaning the contacts. I just think it's just worn out. CA glued it back together. I can't get it to work. I checked online. I mean, the part's not available anymore. So short of getting a donor for this switch, it's just not going to happen. So I was ready to pack it in, delete the footage, have blue balls that I didn't get it going, but I still want to see it work. So I got one other option. It's not going to be quite cordless anymore, but at least we get to see it run. All right, let's give that a try. All right, well, I mean, that's it right there. Sort of working. Get this little plug here. All right. And then when we make it go the other direction, we just reverse the polarity. All right. And then this will just go through here, mount up all nicey nice. And like I said, sort of working. At least we get to see it run, right? All right, let me put this together. I don't want you to have to suffer through watching me figure this shit out. So, yeah, cut back. It'll be all together. All right, well, I mean, it's back together. Here's my power cord. It's definitely a lot more head heavy. So yeah, let's plug it in. Hopefully I guessed the polarity right, because you change the direction, you got to change the polarity and all that jazz. So let's give it a whirl. Holy smokes, that's loud. Pulls about 2 amps. Well, it's moving. That's a lot of amps for it just being idle. Let's see if it goes the other direction. There you go. Let me get a socket. Oh, there you go. I got an idea. Hold on. All right, we got a socket. This way here we can see how fast it's actually turning. Right. Yeah, it's not too quick. What much torque it's got? That stalls pretty easy. Now my power supply is only good for 5 amps, so I don't know how much these old crappy nickel batteries would put out. Maybe more than 5 amps, I don't know. But, I mean, definitely the new hotness. It's got a little bit more RPMs. A little bit more torque, too, to be honest with you. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. See something work that probably hasn't worked in 20 years. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out. See if I can find a donor switch. I'm pretty sure anything that's got these batteries sitting in it with this switch that's not shielded in any way, shape, or form will probably be in the same condition. So I'm not really holding out hope for it. Maybe if I could figure out a way to get like a momentary switch in there, then I could run it on a lithium ion battery. See maybe get a little more chooch for it. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I said, I'll throw it in a box, and if I see one, I'll pick it up. Maybe I could either fix the switch, or maybe it'll have a good switch in it, but I doubt it. So yeah, that was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.